time on Hobby Journeys, we're telling you why and how to get started in Kill Team.
Hello! Welcome to Hobby Journeys.
I'm Matthew and this is my dad.
So, a bit of a change of pace of video this one. We've quite recently, like the last few months, we've got into playing Kill Team, which is a skirmish variant of Warhammer 40,000. A bit of a different sort of game. So, we were going to do a few videos based on Kill Team because we are actively playing it quite a lot at the moment. So, this video, I thought, because we're both beginners to it, we haven't really gamed significantly in the past. We have done a bit of Warhammer 40,000. Few other things, so we wanted to talk about just that first experience of getting into Kill Team, why we've gone for that, what we're doing, and just a bit of an introduction to our kill teaming.
Kill teaming.
Kill teaming. I think that's how you describe it. Yeah, probably.
But playing Kill Team, not kill teaming.
Exactly. I'm sure there are a lot of experts with this game who will give you some really great tips, but they have not been beginners for a very, very long time. And what I'm trying to do is just impart our experience of people just getting into it. And hopefully, someone who is just thinking of maybe getting into it might give them a bit of guidance on where to start from the perspective of someone who, has literally just been playing for a month or so.
We haven't even been playing for a month, pretty much.
Yeah, no, we have. It was January. Was the first play. Yeah, it was January we went to the gaming store. So actually, 2 months, Matthew. Maths size. Why Kill Team? Why Kill Team? There'll be a graphic. If I can be bothered to put the graphic in.
We're doing this again. I remember maybe a year or two ago, we had this one video, we spent 20 minutes every time you did a graphic.
Oh, we're every month. January.
Yeah.
Yeah, etc. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's all good. What it does is saves me having to do a fancy graphic because they all know what's going on. They know there's a fancy thing. Anyway,
we couldn't afford the graphic.
We couldn't afford the graphic. We
couldn't
afford
money.
The graphic. Anyway, why Kill Team? So when we first got into the stutter.
You still
stuttering. When we got into gaming, we started off with Imperium magazine, didn't we, Matthew?
Yeah.
With we played a bit of Warhammer 40,000 at a fairly basic level. What was your experience of that?
We actually didn't do as much as we should have, though, did we? We got really far behind Imperium magazine. We never really got to the high level gaming, did we?
No, we followed the tutorials up until about. So we did have a couple of relatively big battles. Probably our experience was, because I was having to dumb down a lot of the rules because it was quite complicated. You were a bit younger as well, to be fair.
8, wasn't I?
Been about 8 or something. But there was a lot of setup. It took a long time to play a game. I think that the full-on game of 40k we played maybe 4 hours, something like that. Which
I think it's not 3.
No, it was at least 4. Yeah, but you didn't have to do all the setup as well. You just turned up for the game itself. It was a bit of a serious business. So, I think the thing that I found with 40k is that it's a lot. You've got a lot of miniatures. You've got to remember a lot of rules for all of those miniatures. It's a lot of miniatures to set up. The games take a long time. It was quite hard going. Also, some of the game mechanisms, in my opinion, I'm sure there's a lot of mechanisms.
Very pop.
Mechanisms. I think that there's some 40k fans out there who are going to fundamentally disagree with me here, but I think that the mechanism that it uses is a bit old-fashioned, where you have the one player takes a turn to do all their things, then the next person takes a turn to do all their things. And I don't like the mechanic because you sat there waiting half an hour for your turn to come round.
Well, I imagine people, when we went to loads of games where they got these big mechs and massive squads, they must be sat there hours waiting.
Yeah, you might wait an hour for your turn to come round while your army gets steadily taken to pieces.
Yeah.
So we played Legions Imperialis as well, didn't we?
Yeah,
Legions Imperialis even.
Yeah. Barely touched it though, haven't we?
Well, we never quite got back to it. Again, it had that thing of being quite a big game. So,
I don't think it was big. I think more the fact that it's more, with Kill Team, it's one go, another go, one go, another go. Where, again, it's sat there waiting for not as long.
Well, if you remember, Legions Imperialis does have a bit of that mechanism where, we'll get to Kill Team's mechanism for this, which is very much a you go, I go sort of thing. Legions Imperialis is a halfway house. So the way that sets up is you do all of your things, but it's on the basis of different. You have different stages of activation, so it is a bit more like you're not sat there waiting. You do all the movement happens, then all the shooting for the primary shooters, then all of the secondary shooters, and so. But both players are getting to move their things. Both players then get to shoot, so it does mix it up a bit more. But it is still a little bit into that old school mechanics, and it's a bit slower. Also, a lot more miniatures, so it's taking a bit longer. A lot of rules. We never quite got into all of the rules of it. I think we only played 2 games of it, so you know.
3. It was 3.
Was it 3 games? Yeah. So you know, we can't really sort of speak for exactly how it would. You know, as a game, it might be wonderful if you play it loads. Maybe it was just the fact that we didn't give it a fair chance, but I think what we were looking for was a bit more like, because we had a demo game a couple of years ago of Marvel Crisis Protocol, which is a skirmish-based game based on Marvel Avengers. So you've got all of the...
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, there's a clue in the name, isn't there? Yeah, it's all your Thors.
Thors, yeah, it's more
Thors,
yeah.
The Hulk, things, all of those guys. And but the way the mechanism works with these sort of skirmish games, I believe that Star Wars, oh god, I can't think what the Star Wars, Shatterpoint possibly, works with a similar mechanism. Skirmish games, so you have a smaller set of miniatures. You know, you might have 5 or 6 in a team or around that sort of mark. And basically, one of those guys takes a turn, then the next one. So, for instance, the Hulk will do all his things in Marvel Crisis Protocol, then Spider-Man, then, you know, and so you're not sat waiting for ages, you just wait for that 1 minute to do his things, and then it's your go to do something as well. So we played that demo game, that we never picked it up. I mean, to be honest, you know, it was another game to pick up. However, we then got introduced to Kill Team, didn't we? So
it's just yapping, isn't it?
I am yapping.
All about stuff you don't need.
Well, at this stage, we do need to roll off. You don't need to know this, but you're going to, because my friend Peter, who I work with,
he's a flex.
Yeah. Well, I promised Peter we'll give him a little name check. So he has started the gaming club in York, which is not a million miles away from us.
Tournament stuff or whatever it is.
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah, I believe that Peter is ranked somewhere around 25th in the UK at the moment or something. He's, very good player. But he gave us a demo, showed us how it plays. So Peter has started the gaming club in York, where he lives. Tiny little gaming store in it, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is based
at.
Not
big though, is it?
No, but it's very good, and everyone was very friendly. But yeah, the gaming club's called Adeptus Eboricum. Eboricum being the Latin for York, or Old Gothic for York, or whatever.
He's just trying to get Peter to help.
I've got to pick up Peter.
No, he's just trying to get Peter.
Yeah, what I'm doing really, I've got to give Peter a bit of bigging up here, so he'll give me some help to learn how to beat Matthew. Because I'll be honest, I've not been very successful. Matthew is actually, as it turns out, better than me at Kill Team and keeps beating me.
You've only beat me once, haven't you?
I've only beaten you once. Yes, that is true. Soon though, Matthew. Soon though. So and basically we had a demo game and absolutely loved it, didn't we? We really like it. It's, you know, it has that.
That might be because I destroyed you though. That might be.
It might have been that, yeah. But it has that sort of you go, I go gaming mechanic. It's quite quick, so you can get through a game in an hour after 2 hours. Not that much setup. I could pack all my stuff in, 10 minutes.
Put it all in one box, don't you?
I just stick it all into one. Well, I try and sort the cards out. Cards can get a bit messy, but but it's quick. And I think the key thing is, certainly when you're playing with a 12-year-old, their patience ain't going to be there. I think that it's like introducing one of your mates to a game of test match cricket. They're not going to... Yeah, you've got no idea. Most of any of our viewers who aren't in the UK probably going to be a bit similar. But, it's just a huge epic slog. Take your someone to play a game of 40k, they're going to find it a bit hard work. Now, there are these models like the combat patrols and stuff like that, which do sort of make it a bit more, give you a quicker game with a small number of troops than those big, huge 2,000 pointers or whatever. But I love Kill Team. I love the mechanics. I think that just having that small number of men, the great thing is you can buy one box. If you're not playing seriously, anyway. If you play seriously, you might have to buy 2 boxes with that one team to make up all the models you want. But if you're playing casually, you go and buy 1 box of miniatures, you might be able to buy some cards, and that's all you're going to need to go and have a game with someone, And what it means is,
I mean, you don't even really need cards either because we've got the app.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's one of the great things. All the rules are on the app. All of the cards that you need, like the data cards for everyone, is on the app. So you could get away with just having the team and the approved ops card pack, which basically is the other cards, basically the key cards that you need to be able to play a game. And it gives you like the basic rules for playing a competitive game against another person. So for the sake of a £35 box of men and 15 quid, you've got what you need to get into it, as opposed to 40k where you're slapping down a few £100 for just a small army. You want to go for a 2,000 point army, you might be getting into the
pay for paints as well, don't you?
Well, you got all the paints and stuff.
Then you gotta slave your life away and
yeah, exactly. What was your first experience of playing Kill Team, Matthew?
I actually enjoyed it a lot more because it was obviously not as long. 40k was very dragged out, and by the end I was always tired. So
yeah, it was a bit of a struggle for you at your age, wasn't it? I mean, you were a bit young. Maybe when you were a bit older.
I think even for you it was a bit.
Yeah, I was shattered.
By the end, you just look.
Yeah, it's a bit hard going by the time at the end of a 40k game, I find.
I was trying to keep myself going for the video. I was like, yeah.
But we like the mechanism as well, don't we? Because it keeps you interested all the way through, because you're not waiting very long to have your turn.
Well, you're not really waiting at all, are you? Because even if there you go, they're shooting at you. Yeah. You still got to roll dice, and you're always involved in Kill Team, it seems like. So if they're just moving, that doesn't take long, does it? Then move for about 5 seconds, your turn again. If they're shooting at you, you get to roll dice, which is at least you're doing something. May not be the most interesting, but... And even in melee, then you actually get to have a proper fight. So it seems like you're always doing something in Kill Team.
Yeah, and the rules I've also found quite easy to understand. It's the terrain rules are a little bit head doing. I had to get Peter to write me out an explanation of some of it, because it is a bit. I think, to be honest though, because we haven't extensively played a game before, terrain can be one of the trickier things to get your head around. I think if you played 40k, for instance, I'm pretty sure it'd be quite easy to jump into. But anyway, that gets us on to what do you need? What do you need to get going as a new player? What do you need? I mean, at the very basic level, you could get away with, as we were saying.
You're speaking like we're experienced or something.
Well, we're experienced beginners now, Matthew. That's what we are. Because we played about 6-7 games, something like that, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we played a couple in the gaming store. We've had at least 4 at home.
No, you said 6-7. You know what you were doing.
Oh.
You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, but did you respond by going?
I would have, but I was trying to ignore it.
You're trying to ignore it? I'm 45. This is my nightmare.
Yeah, we've done more than 6 or 7.
We've had a good few games.
We've done about 10 now.
Maybe about 10. We've had quite a few games because we've got all the gear we need at home, and we've had a couple in the gaming store as well. But you can get up and going with, as we say, the approved ops card pack. This basically gives you what you need for most competitive players are playing using these, which gives you a set of different missions, equipments, various things to be able to play a game. You don't necessarily need all these things, and there are other ways to get into it. But this is basically the basics for going and playing another person at beginner level would be having these cards and a team. So, we've got a load of teams. There are a small number of miniatures, a lot amount of stock. Oh, where's your wolves? We like this Kill Team. We like the Wolf Scouts, don't we? You've got Wolf Scouts.
Quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah. And, so you've got a team and those cards, and you've probably got enough to get into it. I find, as a recommendation, that the starter set was okay. I bought the starter set, for £70, probably
69.
Probably cheaper at a gaming store. You're getting.
Well, we got it for 50, didn't we?
It's about 55, I think, in the game store, because you're getting that discount off, 20% discount or whatever it is. So, for that, you're getting 2 teams and everything you need to go and start playing. You're not getting those cards in there because it's not using that particular rule set, but there is everything else you need. There is a condensed rule book. You have like a summary sheet for each team, and you have 2 teams to get playing, and some card terrain. If you bought this, you could get cracking with a friend pretty quickly. You've got 2 teams. You've got Space Marines and you've got Nurgle, Plague Marines. the Space Marines, I would say, is a pretty vanilla faction. There's not very much and very special rules for them.
They're just kind of normal, aren't they?
Yeah, you're not getting. They're not wild in terms of the actual rules. A bit the same with the Plague Marines.
Makes them good for the early players, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. So
actually, I think it's a good start box because it has one team that's kind of basic, that's for learning the game, and another that's got a lot of team abilities which you need to learn.
Yeah, exactly. So the Plague Marines are a bit more complex. They're not quite as easy to just pick up and play with as the Space Marines are, but they're not as overly complicated. They don't have. Some teams have a complete mechanic that is completely different to every other team. Something in the rules that makes them a bit different. But both these teams are relatively. You can pick up and play. Plague Marines are a bit. The Space Marines are shooty. The Plague Marines you're going to have to get into close combat. They've got some rules around passing on poison to the other team, but it's not overly. You'll get your head around it pretty quick. It's a pretty solid set to start with. You've got some card terrain, which is fine. It's all right. It'll get you going with a game, and you can have a few games. We didn't use it at all. I've not even popped out the packaging because from Imperium magazine we already had something for using 40k. If you're first looking in, I mean, you could do what I did and go a little bit wild and buy a load of stuff, which is what I did. But I started with the starter set, and then we had.
Actually, you didn't buy that much.
Well, I don't know. It's quite a lot. But we started. We had a couple of games with the starter set, didn't we? And I just went right. Let's get into this.
Oh yeah, then you started spending on kill teams, didn't you?
So we've expanded out. There are some kill teams that you possibly, because they have some quite special mechanics that you're going to have to, might be difficult for a beginner. I think at some point maybe we'll review some of these kill teams and see where see what our feelings about them are. But with those two in the box, that's great. I went for the Wrecker Crew. They do have some special mechanics around, which I'm still learning how to get the best out of. To be honest, around they have to accumulate war points. Basically, they are rubbish at shooting. They hit on 5+, which is poor. But if you get some points, all those hits, you could turn a fail into a hit with some war points, which you get by actually hitting people and rolling crits. Basically, a crit being a 6.
They're pretty much just gamblers, aren't
they are. So it makes a bit of an interesting mechanic, but still. Not too bad for a starter. I mean, I'm still getting my head around them. Again, so this is the sort of level up from those very basic sort of ones you get in the starter set. Matthew, you've got the Space Wolf Scouts, haven't you? So these guys they've got a few interesting mechanics. They got a storm that goes around the map and stuff. They've got a doggo. Love the doggo.
It's very good though. The doggo is very good.
Yeah, but that's sort of that level up then. So, and that's sort of where we're at, isn't it, in terms of our next steps with it? So,
we could talk about the team I'm starting to build.
So and so Matthew sort of fell in love when they released the Shadowhunt box with. You tell us about it, Matthew.
So, other than the Space Wolves or whatever they're called, the Space Wolf
Scouts.
Yeah. I have gotten the is it Murderwing?
The Murderwing.
Yeah, I got the Murderwing. This is going to be the faction I'm used once we painted them because we're lazy. Well, I'm lazy.
Well, I've had them for ages and we've only just built 4 of them so far. We're not doing very well. We will get there though and have a game with them.
According to Peter, they're overpowered, aren't they?
Well, when they were originally viewed to be quite overpowered in terms of the game, by all accounts. I've been talking to Peter since, who bear in mind he's playing them at quite a serious level, but he's sort of saying they're very manoeuvrable. They have their own mechanic in that you're sort of going to move yourself around the map a lot, but maybe. Yeah, because you've got jetpacks. So they're very manoeuvrable, but they're not really that resilient, especially if you've only got a handful of models. So he was saying he quite often just sort of, he just nips out and does something, then hides again. That's basically his game, essentially. That's what
I always do anyway. So.
Yeah. But they're quite good mods, aren't they?
Yeah, I quite like them because the details on them are quite nice.
Yeah, they do look quite cool.
The Curse Claw's really funny if you go to him on the.
What's that, sir?
The Curse Claw.
Well, the Curse Claw, this fella.
Look at him with his tongue out.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we basically where we went with it was that first I got that starter set, then I bought a couple of teams for us each. So you actually wanted Death Watch at one stage, didn't you?
But I went for these instead.
Yeah, well, it was out of set.
Well, I actually wanted the Death Watch before I knew about these because they weren't in the shop we went to.
Yeah, that's true. But there was but you got the Space Force Scouts. I got the Wrecker Boys. We've been playing with those, haven't we? In terms of terrain, because we do, you know, if you're going to be playing at home and you don't have a mate who's got a load of stuff, you're going to need some terrain. The vanilla one is the Volcus something or other.
Is that what we use?
That's basically what we might have some 3D printed ones.
3D
3D printed equivalent. 3D printed equivalent terrain.
Games Workshop.
They're very similar terrain, but not different enough to make it clear that they are IP separate. You know, I should say. Yeah, so Kill Team Volcus, so basically just ruins, essentially, which makes quite a nice setup of a map. So we've been playing with that. I bought the Wrecker Crew and the Space Wolf Scouts. I bought the card set for, which was useful because then you've got the cards you can actually have in your hands and use. All of the teams come with their own counters, so all the counter stuff you need are with the team, so that's fine. You don't need to go and buy any more counters and stuff. A set of nice dice is nice because one of the key mechanics is that if you roll a 6, that's called a crit, and that is like a very significant thing in terms of a lot of the mechanics.
It's literally
just a
normal hit but better.
Yeah, and it drives a lot of the rules in some cases. Yeah. So,
especially with the Wrecker Boys, if they don't get 6s,
every crit gives you another Wrecker point, which you can use for things.
There's a limit for them, which I think is a bit silly. Though.
Yeah, well, it just means you can't sit there accruing loads of them until like the last turn.
Yeah, but that kind of ruins them, doesn't it?
Well, it just means you don't hide until right at the end of the game and nip out and use all your Wrecker Points to smash them. But
but it would make you've got to get the Wrecker Points somehow by fighting, don't you?
No, this is true. So I would recommend getting a nice set of dice. I got some off Amazon for £10, and it was for about 20 dice. Just so they've got a little symbol for a crit instead. Just so when you roll them, and you can see immediately that crit has come up. But although to be fair, I'm pretty sure you can all recognise a 6. If you played Pontoon or something like that.
What if I can't pass 4?
Oh no, sorry, I meant Yahtzee. So if you ever played Yahtzee, you'll know that you can always see when that 6 comes up.
Yeah, but what if I can't pass 4?
I mean, that's sort of stop playing the game and go back to school, maybe. Because Anyway, there you go. That's where we've been at. We're going to do a bit of Kill Team content going forward. I just wanted to talk about those sort of beginner steps, maybe give a few tips. If you're in the York area, then give Adeptus Arboricum a bit of a Google, and I'm sure Peter will be looking for more members. And just getting into it is in the terms of a Games Workshop game, it is fairly quick and easy to get into. Low price point, get that. If you really just want to have a bit of a dabble with it, get that starter set. You've got 2 reasonable to play with teams. Hopefully some of that has been useful. We've meandered our way around the topic a bit. We will be doing some more Kill Team content. We're probably going to do some battle reports. I'll need to get set up to do that.
Shouldn't we?
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, though. I think next time we have a game, I'll get the camera onto it. I made a brief video at the last one because we had a crazy game where normally in Kill Team it's a bit cagey. First turn, not much happens.
Oh, yeah.
The last game, we both headed straight onto the roof and just started gunning each other.
That was your fault.
Half our teams got killed in the first turn, which is wild.
I was trying to play normally, and you've gone up your ladder and just tried blasting rockets at me.
You put your man up there to basically dominate the whole map with your guy with a plasma gun. I thought, I'm having him.
And he still survived until in the last turn.
He did very well, but I'd weakened him, so I popped off really easy later on.
Yeah, but he still managed to kill 2 of your units.
He might have killed 2 of my units. Orcs are dispendable.
So...
Orcs are dispendable.
No, I think you mean Squigs are expendable. I don't think Orcs are expendable.
Orcs are expendable. They're all expendable. Yeah, anyway, there we go. We've talked a lot there, more than I expected to, actually.
We could have done that in 20 minutes, and we spent an extra 15.
Well, it will be 20 when I edit out all the chaff from that.
But
In fact, it might be about 5 minutes long by the time I've got rid of all the rubbish we've been chatting on. The clock's only 35 minutes. I guarantee this video is not going to end up in 35 minutes. I might go, oh god, just the intro will do.
He's definitely going to cut this out as well.
Oh, I'll probably cut this out as well. Anyway,
Knowing him, yeah.
Right, let's stop talking. There you go.
Now he's going to cut this out as well.
I think, let's just sum it up. Kill Team's great. Really liking it. Get into it.
Just made that 10-second video. Kill Team's good.
Yeah,
Bye.
Kill Team's good. Loving it. Anyway,
Bye.
There we go. Right, what are we going to say to the viewers, Matthew?
Bye, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell.
Do those things. Bye.
Do those things.